is Real to Real Podcast. Real stories, real sports. And here's your host,
Welcome to Real to Real. And again, we have another guest that defines Real to Real. This guest is a trailblazer. He's inspiring. He's motivating to the community. He was a 3-year starter for the Hampton Crabbers, leading his team to a state basketball championship. He scored over 1,300 points, second team All-State. He played collegiately at Central Connecticut State and Old Dominion. But it's how he's transitioned from basketball to the ministry, changing lives in the community is what's amazing. And we're going to get into everything with our guest today, Mr. Pastor Kevin Swann. Kevin, I know you're busy, and I really appreciate you coming on with me.
Man, it's great, man, and I appreciate that. You dug up some old stats there, man. I'm proud of you, man. I didn't know they still had stats that far back, man.
Well, look, I know you don't like to. Well, not say you don't like to. I know you don't talk about your basketball career as much, but those stats are amazing. And you started in Hampton, growing up. Talk to me about growing up in Hampton and what was that like?
Yeah, man. So I'm an only child, man, and I grew up actually in the housing neighborhood right next to Hampton High. And so, wanting to be a crabber all of my life, being that close to the school. And then, when I got there, I'm this small, skinny, 100-pound with bricks in my pocket kind of kid, man.
Right.
And there was a lot of talent ahead of me. I was fortunate enough to make JV in the 8th grade, which I think helped propel me to getting used to playing against, bigger, faster kids at an earlier age, right? And so, but even then, there were a lot of people ahead of me, man. And so over time, played JV 8th grade, ended up starting in the second half of my 8th grade of that season, played JV 9th grade, had the opportunity to go to varsity 9th grade, but I wanted to stay down so I could play more and just get the experience of being on the court. And then, like you said, man, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, man, started and had a great high school career, man.
Great career at Hampton High for the legendary Walter Brower. You averaged 17 points per game, second team All-State. And just to give an indication to everybody how tough that state was back then, Grant Hill, a guy you beat twice in your career, I might add, was also second team All-State. That's how loaded the competition and the players were back when you played. Talk about that state championship run, if you don't mind.
Yeah, man. So
runner up, you won one chip and was runner up, right?
No, my senior year we won the one. So
okay.
The year after they went back to the state, that was with Gannon Baker, that team,
right,
when they lost in the state championship. So fortunately for us, we won my senior year, which was the first time we went. And Hampton High, as you know, man, is a football school.
Absolutely.
So they had already won the state championship my senior year in football, right? And so most times people look at the basketball like, yeah, y'all are good, but
yeah.
They don't have those same they didn't have those same kind of state championship expectations. So we get out of the region, we lose to Maury in the regional finals. So we ended up going into the state round as the number 2 seed out of the region.
Okay.
So we ended up playing William Fleming out of Roanoke, which, they were a higher ranked team than us. We knocked them off. Our second opponent was South Lakes with Grant Hill. And at that point, most people felt like, all right, look, we ain't gonna win that game, right? It's Grant Hill. And man, Grant, to his credit, I mean, he had 20 on us at halftime. Wow. And we were down. And then we made some adjustments in the second half. He ended up with 30. So to be clear, he ended up with 30. He got his.
Yeah, he got his, yeah.
But we got the W. Mm-hmm. And after that, man, we felt like, man, we're in the state championship, man. We didn't come too far now to lose. And so we played Petersburg High School in the state championship.
Wow.
Kenny Harris, I don't know if you remember him.
Yep.
He went to the University of North Carolina.
Yep. And
then transferred to VCU to finish his career. He was there leading scorer and player. I think he was first team All-State. And, we were able to knock them off. And so, yeah, man, state champions, no better way to go out your high school career than having a ring on your finger, man.
That's so true. That's so true. And so you win a state title and then you start getting ready for college. Central Connecticut State is where you started. You later transferred to ODU, but What was the decision behind going to Central Connecticut State?
Well, even though I had scored a lot of points, my shot stroke was not very good in high school. I'll be honest. It went in, but I had an interesting shot, man, because being skinny and small, I used to shoot it more from my hip to kind of get the strength of the shot. So I'm sure that that turned away a lot of potential scouts. So I didn't really have a lot of offers coming out of high school, and so Central Connecticut was one school. They were Division I, lower Division I, but they gave me an opportunity and said, "Hey, you can come here. You can start right away," which was appealing to me. Even though, to be honest with you, man, before they recruited, I had never even heard of them, man. But most people hadn't heard of them, right? But it was the opportunity,
right,
that appealed to me, right? So I start day one. I was there for 2 years, and had I stayed, I would have ended my career there as the all-time leading scorer at the school.
Wow!
I was on pace to break the scoring record as a point guard. Go figure that, right? So I'm shooting the ball. Y'all just get out the way.
Get that shooting
y'all get out the way. I'm shooting.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, but we didn't win a lot of games either. So to be fair, right? And so after my sophomore year, my head coach at Central Connecticut, he stepped down.
Okay.
And so I figured at that point, I had proven myself. This is an opportunity for me to come back home, closer to home anyway. And when I'm playing at Central Connecticut, we ended up playing Radford. And at the time, the head coach of Radford was Oliver Purnell.
That's right.
So when we played Radford, I think I hung like 35 on him, right? So he, at the time, Coach Purnell leaves Radford, comes to ODU. I'm looking to transfer. He had seen me play. So he was like, "Hey, man, if you're looking to transfer, you come on down here." So it really worked out, man. And Coach Purnell was a fantastic coach, man. I really enjoyed playing for him as well.
So you get to Old Dominion, you have a star-studded roster at that point when you get down there. What was your initial thought when you got to campus at Old Dominion?
Yeah, so my role had to change. And I think this is what a lot of people don't always understand, right? When you go to different teams, people think that you're supposed to always do what you did before. And to your point, we had so many great players surrounding me that I didn't have to be that kind of scorer that I was at Central Connecticut. Right. So I could play a little bit more of a what I would consider a traditional point guard role. I mean, we had shooters like Mike Jones, who Mike Jones now is assistant coach at Virginia Tech. He was head coach at DeMatha for a number of years. P.D. Sessoms, who, man, you couldn't leave him anywhere, man. I mean, he's shooting it from 30, man, right?
Yeah, man.
We had shooters, and then down low, we had Odell Hodge, who came in right away as a freshman, man, and dominated, man. It's very rare to see a freshman come into a college league and had that kind of impact that he had. And we also had Mario Mullen.
Yep. Local guy, Virginia Beach. Yeah.
Local guy, Bayside High School. He came in with Odell and he was killing it. Mm-hmm. So my role changed, man. And I was happy about that, man, because we were winning games. And I was happy to be at ODU.
And you were closer to home, where your family could come see you play. You averaged a little over 12 points a game, Kevin, at ODU, and you had some opportunities to play pro ball. And this is where the story gets really interesting, and I want everybody to hear this. You had an opportunity to play pro ball, but you answered the call, right? You answered the call to get into ministry. So talk about that transition, knowing when it was time to stop playing ball to do something else.
Yeah, very interesting time, man, to be honest with you. ODU, gave me that opportunity. Let me also say I met at that time, my girlfriend, now my wife at ODU. And so we had aspirations when we graduated. Yeah, I'm probably going to try to pursue a career professionally, probably overseas somewhere. Back then there wasn't no G League and nothing like that, man. So
right.
You think overseas. So I played in the PIT, for those who don't know, Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. That's a top tournament where NBA scouts come in for seniors. Played in that. got an agent. The plan still was to play overseas. But I was fighting that, man, because God was also dropping hints in my life that I want you to go into ministry. And at first, I was like, look, man, God, look, can we put that on hold, please?
I want to play.
I hear you. Yeah. I hear you, but can you give me 5 years, and
right.
And the call just kept intensifying, right? So what ended up happening, man, I had an offer to go overseas, but yet the call of God on my life kept intensifying. So one night I just prayed and said, look, God, just make it clear for me. What is it that you want me to do? And the next day, the agent that I had called me and said that deal that we thought we had fallen through. And they went in another direction. They went with a big man. They needed a big instead of a guard. And at the same time, I had a job offer to stay in the area working at Hampton University. Wow. And for me, man, that was my sign. That was my sign that, okay, God, you made it clear to me now. I've taken basketball as far as I can take it, and it's time to go in a different direction.
Yeah, when you get that call, it's going to come knocking at you, and you have to, pray and feel and just see where it takes you, where God takes you. Tell people and tell me how does playing and coaching coincide with being a pastor?
It's everything for me. And I tell people all the time that even now, so to provide context, after I accepted the call right after college, I graduate, my wife and I get married. So we get married in May, and in June of that same year, the next month, I preached my initial sermon, going to ministry.
That's right.
So it's been over 20 years ago since that happened. Now I'm pastoring a church, Ivy Baptist in Newport News. Been there. It'll be 16 years coming up soon.
Wow. Nice.
Right?
Nice.
But even now, Rube, I don't even still today consider myself a pastor. I still think of myself as a head coach.
Right.
Because sport is really all I know. Still. Now, I read the Bible, but my approach to life is still centered around sports. So for me, we have a playbook.
Right.
We got plays that we got to run,
right.
and we have to execute. Right. There is an opponent that we have. We need to scout the opponent to make sure we understand the plays that the opponent is trying to run against us. Right. If we don't play together as a team, we can't win. So for me, everything that I learned in sport has translated over into ministry, and I don't really see it much differently, man.
Yeah, you were an assistant pastor at Six Mount Zion, where I got a chance to hear you preach. Now you're a senior pastor at Ivy Baptist. So talk to me about Swann Ministries. I know you have a radio show on WHOV called The Pastor Study. Just tell the people a little bit about that.
Yeah, so The Pastor Study is a radio show that we do. I've been doing it for about 13 years now. It's hard to believe we've been on radio that long. I figured at first they would have kicked us off by now.
Right.
I mean, we have fun with it, Matt. The show's premise is The Pastor Study is the place where, it's kind of like the locker room, so to speak. This is the place where pastors, we talk about stuff. We deal with stuff in private. And so what we kind of do is we kind of shed light on what we're thinking about life situations, things in the news. And we just have an open conversation. It started with a couple of pastors. Now it's grown into so much more than that. And very proud of it. It's on WHOV 88.1, Hampton University's radio station. And we used to be on Sirius XM with it as well. But we're no longer on Sirius XM, but we are on Facebook. The Pastor Study, if you want to check it out, you can watch us. And it's just a fun show, man. We just talk about common topics, interests, and we try to put a spiritual lens on it. But above all, man, we just have fun.
Yeah.
Now,
I listen to
now Kevin Swann Ministries that you talked about, Enterprises, that's a separate nonprofit that I created.
Okay.
Because like you said earlier, I'm very heavily invested in the community. Yep. I do believe strongly in giving back. to especially our youth. I think if we look around, our youth are dealing with things today that I know I didn't have to deal with at their age. I'm raising a son. He's 18 years old. By the way, he plays at Hampton High School basketball as well.
Oh, so I got a question about that later. I'm glad you said that.
Okay. Yeah. But just seeing his experiences growing up as a young Black man in this community, man, is challenging. It's challenging. So I'm definitely trying to do all I can to help give back, man.
Doing a great job, man. I got a chance to actually listen to your radio show a few times. Is Alvian still do it with you?
Alvian Lyons is up there.
That's my guy.
Commonwealth attorney Anton Bell.
Man, heavy hitter.
Bishop Ray Johnson. We have fun, man. Yeah. If you want to come up there, you can join us anytime you want.
All right, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, you come hang with us, man.
All right, man. All right, Pastor.
I'm sure we'll get better ratings if you come on.
No, I don't know about that. Last segment, Pastor Swann, I call this the name of my show is Real to Real, and this segment is called Keepin It Real. I just throw some quick hitters at you, and you say the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready? Something fun for us. All right. Give me your Mount Rushmore of pastors in terms of the ones that paved the way and helped you become a better pastor and more informative of the word in the Bible.
Well, it would definitely have to be my own pastor, Jerome Barber,
yes, right.
6 Mount Zion Baptist Temple, Bishop Jeffrey Reeves, who is at Good Shepherd Baptist Church in Petersburg. And then from there, man, so many of my peers, Pastor Mike Waldron in First Corinthian Baptist Church in Harlem, New York, Pastor Howard John Wesley, Alfred Street Baptist in Alexandria, and a number of church pastors in this local community. No one pastor can survive an area without the support of other local pastors. So I give all of them a shout out.
That's right. That's good stuff. And if anybody doesn't know who Pastor Jerome Barber is, he's the loud voice you hear at Hampton University saying it's the Jerome thing and all that. That's my guy, man. He's a great guy. Yeah, all right, you mentioned your son earlier. Everybody wants to know, can you beat your son in one-on-one? Because he can shoot too. I've seen him play at Hampton a few times. So yeah.
We've gone at it a few times, man.
Okay,
he's gotten me. He's gotten me lately, but I still get him occasionally. Let me say that.
All right, I'll take that.
We have a hoop in the backyard too, man. So we go out there sometime, man, and have a little knockdown drag outs. But he's gotten to the point now. I got to foul him a few times.
There you go. Let him know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot with this one. Pickup game. You need 5, 4, and yourself from Hampton High. Who are you taking on the pickup game from people from Hampton High?
Whew. All-time greats. Anybody from Hampton High.
That's right.
Man,
it's a tough one.
Yeah, you put me on the spot there, man. If I need a big, I might have to just do a few people. If I need a big, Eric Hunter played him out. He was our enforcer.
Yeah, he was.
John Scott could really play. Baruch Harris, David Keeter. Guards now, Gannon, of course, Gannon Baker.
Yep.
But if I'm looking at just in general, of course, Ronald Curry would have to be out there.
He's up there.
Cat Barber would have to be out there. Damon Bako.
So many.
I mean, just so many great players have come out of Hampton High. And so, when you mentioned my scoring, at the time, I came out number 2. Art Jones was number 1. And I believe since then, several have passed, which I'm happy about, So that just proves how much talent has gone through Hampton High School, man.
Yeah, I think Cat Barber now leads the school in scoring. He was a McDonald's All-American, played at NC State. Proudest moment in your athletic career and ministry that comes to mind?
So definitely the state championship ranks up there with me as far as athletic achievement. I was not fortunate enough to win a championship in college. So, again, being able to win a state championship is something that I'll hold for me forever, right? So I'll say that. As far as ministry is concerned, I would say it's not a moment, but just the fact of seeing my family, all of my family together, all of my family, my wife, our kids have all made, my kids have made decisions to follow the Lord, and I'm very happy about that. So as a father and as a pastor, that makes me most proud that my family is in the right space.
That's deep. That's deep. All right, last one for you, man. The one scripture you hang your hat on and put in your back pocket, your go-to scripture that you come out of, whether it's just talking to the youth in the community or even at church.
It's an athletic scripture, by the way, Ruben. It's 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 24. The Apostle Paul says there, in a race, all the runners run, but only one gets the prize. He says there, run in a way to win. And what I take from that is that there's so many people who are just happy to be involved, right? Whether that's life, whether that's the sport. But the verse says, run in such a way to win, right? Which for me says, whatever I get myself into or I involve myself into, if I'm not in it to win it, then there's no sense in me trying to get in it in the first place. So, that's what I instill in our children. If you're gonna work at something, work to be the best at it. Don't just be satisfied with getting a job. Work to the point where you can own the company, right? That's what it means to run to win it. And I think so many people have a mindset of settling, being happy or complacent, but you're not winning. You're not running to win. You're just happy to be in the race. And so that verse sticks with me all the time, and that's what I go by.
That's deep. That's deep. And again, they know where to find you. Ivy Baptist, senior pastor at Ivy Baptist Church in Newport News. I love this story. It's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, and I'm so glad you had some time to talk to me. I really appreciate this.
Man, it's been my honor, man. You're taking me back down memory lane today, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate this, man. And anytime, man, I can help you going forward, please don't hesitate to reach out, man.
I appreciate that, Pastor Swann. I'll let you know when this is on. I'll send you a copy, and we'll make it happen on social media. Thank you. Thanks again.
You're doing great work, man. Thank you.
This episode is sponsored by La Vida Agency. Protect, prepare, plan.